What are the four main themes of physiology? The first theme of physiology is that structure and function are going to be related to one another. So structure, think about anatomy; function, think about physiology, are going to be how things are going to be basically put together and working within the body. And so if we have a region like the outside of our skin, we're going to have many layers present. So if we trip and fall, if we scrape the surface of the skin, we may lose some of the superficial, the surface most layers of the skin that are present, but we've got deeper layers that are going to be there for protection. In contrast, if we take a look at our blood vessels, take a look at a capillary, we want to have exchange occurring between the bloodstream and the surrounding tissues, we're going to have a single cell layer thick, and that cell is going to be very, very thin because we want to promote the process of diffusion of materials into and out of a blood capillary. The second theme of physiology is that all living organisms require energy. We humans, as examples of animals, need to bring in our energy from the outside, and so we're going to obtain nutrients, we're going to eat materials. Those materials are going to be broken down and absorbed within our digestive system, and then the classic way we think about it, those individual sugars, those individual glucose molecules, are going to be broken down into ATP within the process of cellular respiration. And now that ATP is going to be used to power all kinds of things within a living organism. So it's easy to see if we want to use our muscles, maybe wiggle our fingers here under these circumstances, that ATP is going to be powering the interaction that's occurring between the actin and myosin, allowing for the muscle to contract. In other circumstances, ATP could be powering little pumps that are located within the cell membranes that are going to be actively moving ions against their concentration gradient. So moving those ions and concentrating them within the cell. Other uses of energy would be things like cellular reactions, chemical reactions. And so if we are going to be building molecules, basically taking kind of individual subunits, putting them together into the production of a protein, putting amino acids together to produce a protein, that's going to require energy to power that. And so we need energy in all kinds of different things that are occurring within living organisms. The third theme in physiology is that information flow is going to control body function. And so an easy way of thinking about that is the nervous system. And so if I want to wiggle my fingers, basically I'm going to have a cell up here within my brain that is going to send a message down to a cell within my spinal cord. That's going to send a message out to the muscles in my fingers, telling my fingers that I want them to wiggle. And so the nervous system is controlling that. Other examples of information flow within the body with things like hormones. And so it's morning when I'm recording this video. And so my cortisol levels are elevated over what they were last night. And that elevated cortisol level, kind of ramps up my attention and kind of controls a whole variety of things within my body. And so nervous system, information flow. Hormones, information flow. But we got other examples of things as well. If we want to think about regulation of our respiration, we're going to be looking at the concentration of carbon dioxide that's within our blood. And so as our body is more metabolically active, we're going to be using up more oxygen, generating more carbon dioxide, and then that carbon dioxide is going to accumulate in the blood. It's going to interact with sensors within the body. They're basically going to say, we need to breathe faster, breathe deeper, to blow off the carbon dioxide and bring in oxygen. So a third example of the information flow within the body, controlling body function. The fourth of the main themes in physiology is that homeostasis maintains stability within the body. And so the traditional way of thinking about this is taking a look at blood sugar levels. And so if I eat a hearty meal, those nutrients are going to come into my body, they're going to be absorbed, the sugar levels in my blood are going to be increased. And so in response to the elevated levels of sugar within my blood, we're going to release a hormone called insulin. That insulin is going to drive down the sugar levels within the blood by basically telling cells that if you need sugar, it's available. Bring it into the cells. Or if you want to store sugar, if we're looking at cells like muscle cells or liver cells, take that sugar in and then store it within that location. And then in between meals, as our sugar levels start to drop, we're going to need that sugar. We need the energy, that second theme of physiology. We need that energy in order to be able to do whatever it is that the living organism needs. And so what's going to happen as our blood sugar levels lower, we're going to have another hormone release, glucagon, which we'll talk about later on within the course. That glucagon is going to say, okay, everybody that stored up some sugar while we had it plentiful, right after we had a meal, start releasing that. And so we're going to release some of the sugar that's stored within our livers. We may break down some fats to make the energy available within fat for metabolism within the body. And so that's an example of homeostasis. If I go out for a run later on, it's summer, it's incredibly hot outside, I'm going to get flushed in the face because I'm going to have blood flowing close to the surface. I'm going to be covered in sweat because my body's going to be trying to radiate the heat off of me to cool my body. And so that's a response of homeostasis. My body's heating up, and so in an effort to cool it down, we're going to do some physiological processes that are going to result in the release of heat. And so the four main themes of physiology then are that structure and function are related. All living organisms require energy. Information flow within the body controls body function. And then finally, homeostasis maintains stability within the body.